So, good afternoon, dear friends. We're continuing our work here in Ukraine Media Center. We are working for you, and now we have online with us Vadym Boichenko, City Mayor of Mariupol. Vadym, could you please tell us what's going on, what information you have about what is going on in the city, what situation with vacation, and whether we managed to launch those humanitarian corridors where they are operating at the moment? You're welcome. Unfortunately, the situation in Mariupol was, is, and remains very difficult. We are currently, we already crossed the line of humanitarian catastrophe. There's no electricity supply, no water, no food, no medicines in the city. Has been so for more than a month. So we insist that Mariupol has to be provided for with full evacuation and full access to the city, but we see that now Russian Federation has been blocking all cargoes moving towards the city of Mariupol. Those are humanitarian cargoes. That no one cargo, nothing has reached the city of Mariupol. This is one thing. Second, today there is no one bus which had to reach Mariupol to evacuate city residents. No one bus has reached Mariupol. We tried to do it since the beginning of March, but unfortunately it has not worked. Now, from March 1 to March 10, we were able to evacuate from within Mariupol. We had evacuation buses, our municipal buses, but the enemy was destroying our buses. We initially had 150, then 100 of those 50, 30, then 10 buses, and then it came down to zero. They destroyed all the buses to destroy our dream for evacuation. Then, since March 13, without that ceasefire, but with full cooperation with our central government, Irina Vereshchuk, and our Supreme Commander, Volodymyr Zelensky, we managed to launch that humanitarian corridor, and people were able to leave the city in their private cars and to reach Berdyansk. And then from Berdyansk, but there was no ceasefire, and from Berdyansk there was a route. Like, we created this route, and now this route is working, but it's very difficult, and there are interruptions. For example, there are still 15 buses waiting in Vasilievka in Zaporizhia Oblast, and our mission is not allowed to reach Berdyansk to evacuate those residents of Mariupol from there. Also, currently, today we got some sad news. Yesterday, the International Committee of Red Cross went to the city of Mariupol. That was their goal. They reached the town of Mangush, and now we have been rescuing them because they have been arrested. And today, Mrs. Vereshchuk has been personally involved in getting them out of this trouble, to get them to the territory of Ukraine controlled by central government. Now, that corridor between Berdyansk and Zaporizhia, which works, although it's very difficult, but it's work. Almost 19,000 people have been evacuated by that corridor, and now we see that those people who were able to use private cars or just to walk or to use other routes to leave the city, they left it, and now around the city of Mariupol in villages there have been about 70,000 people. In the city itself, there are more than 100,000 people, and we are planning evacuation, but we cannot evacuate them. So we request from the international community to join efforts for full evacuation of residents of Mariupol. Vadym, could you please tell us, we all see that those occupiers do not only block humanitarian assistance, but also take humanitarian assistance which we send there. We have seen those videos where those occupiers, those in Mariupol, hand out that wheat flour, saying that their humanitarian aid. Do you have any information about that? I personally witnessed it. We went with that humanitarian mission to the city of Mariupol, and in Berdyansk, in that occupied city of Berdyansk, enemy's troops, those occupiers and those troops from so-called Donetsk People's Republic, they stopped our trucks and unloaded partially, not everything, they didn't take everything, but they partially unloaded those trucks, and there was that situation. About a week ago, we also had that opportunity. We sent 2 trucks to the city of Berdyansk, but they were seized by Russian troops, and they disappeared in some unknown direction. And then we see how those troops from so-called Kadyrov's Republic, or Chechnya, give our humanitarian aid, saying wheat flour in Ukrainian. That's terrible. Vadym, could you please tell us whether you have any information in the recent days, whether that mass-scale bombing and shelling of Mariupol continues, or that action became less intensive? Unfortunately, since the 5th day, the war has been destroying, very brutally destroying our Mariupol. They use whatever they can. Some prohibited weapons, howitzers, multiple launch rocket systems, Grad, Smesh, Uragan, Buratino flame guns. Then there were aircrafts, 1 aircraft, then 2, then 5. They came to our city almost like working shifts. Every 30 minutes they would drop their bombs, they would destroy our city. And unfortunately, today I have to sadly say that 90% of our infrastructure has already been destroyed. 60% of it has been directly hit with enemy's artillery or aviation, while 40% of that we will never be able to restore. And today, too, there is artillery, and there are also enemy's ships which shell Mariupol from seaside. Vadym, could you please tell us, we keep hearing information about forced deportation of Mariupol residents to either temporarily occupied territory or to the territory of Russian Federation. And we even read that many people already described how they left Russian Federation after being forcefully deported there. Do you have any information how many of such people are there? What should they do? How to leave the aggressor's territory? You understand that this is indeed deportation. This is forceful movement from Mariupol to so-called Donetsk People's Republic or to the Russian Federation. I'll provide an example. In the night time, somebody comes with weapons and says, this is evacuation. Then people waiting in those shelters, people who have been staying there for 20 days, they leave it, they board, they enter cars and they go somewhere, and then they see all of that this is not Ukraine, it's Novoazovsk or even Taganrog. Then they are put on board the train, and they're brought somewhere deep into a remote part of Russian Federation, like Tomsk or Tambov, and from there they call us and inform us that they are there. What happens after that? They can, and we already have such examples where they move from Russian Federation to Georgia, and then from Georgia they reach Ukraine. We see that this sort of filtration there on the border with Russian Federation takes like a week or 2 weeks. They're like sieving, filtering everybody who is in their hands, and they treat in a very harsh way municipal employees. For example, my neighbors, one of them worked for us in some municipal utility, the other one worked for a metallurgy plant. They were split, that from the metallurgy plant went to Donetsk People's Republic, and the other guy has been arrested, and he cannot understand why is he there. He is kept in some farm or some place, such sort of lustration place, and they're going to, I think, to exchange those people for their people or for their military or somebody. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? Good afternoon. I'm Viktor Melnikov from CG10. Could you please tell us how many innocent civilians are still waiting to be evacuated from Mariupol? Well, according to our estimates, based on our today's understanding, there is quite a lot of people still remaining in that absolutely blocked, absolutely sieged city of Mariupol in some inhumane conditions. There is no water supply, no electricity, no heating, no communications, no medicines. 130,000 people are still there in the city of Mariupol. There are heavy battles between enemy's troops of Russian Federation and our heroic military. Our Ukrainian armed forces, the National Guard, they have been defending the perimeter of our city, and they have been hitting the enemy. It's very difficult to do it, but they stay strong and they defend our city of Mariupol. Mariupol is a Ukrainian city. It wasn't, it is a Ukrainian city and will be a Ukrainian city. Vadym, could you please tell us, we know that many residents of Mariupol managed to get to Berdyansk. From Berdyansk, then, is there any route to Zaporizhia? Do those humanitarian corridors operate at the moment, or again, there is no opportunity to take our people from there? Yes, they do work, but it's very difficult. Before that, we were waiting for 3 days. We have our mission every day. We send a convoy, and that mission is managed by Ms. Vereshchuk and Mr. Kirilenko, and we join those efforts. We participate in it. And 3 weeks ago, we brought together 3 missions, and they were waiting for 2 days, waiting for the enemy troops to let them through. It was a big mission. 5,000 residents of Mariupol were moving to the city of Zaporizhia. There were sick people, there were wounded people, but those enemies, they don't respect anything. They kept our Ukrainians under siege. They were rotating their troops, and to avoid defeating of their troops by Ukrainian armed forces, they used our residents of Mariupol as their life shield. Vadym, could you please tell us whether there's any information like about Mariupol itself and everything to Berdyansk or maybe even to Zaporizhia losing communications? Seems that the occupiers have switched off our telecommunications, mobile communications. Previously, people had some hope when they got to Melekin or Mangush, they would contact their relatives, but now they cannot do it. Is it true? Well, Mariupol and the surrounding villages, the suburbs of Mariupol, unfortunately have no connection, no coverage. But those who have internet connection are able to speak over the internet. So sometimes we get that connection, but it has been very limited because the enemy troops make every effort to have Russian fascist propaganda working there. They disseminate it among the residents of our city, saying that like everybody left them, both the central government and the local government. We understand why they're doing this sort of propaganda. Vadym? And it makes it very difficult. It makes it more difficult to evacuate the residents of Mariupol. and it's difficult to keep them in the Ukrainian information space. Any more questions? Journalists have no questions. Vadym, I would like to ask you, maybe you have some information for those who have left Mariupol. We understand that there are thousands of such people, residents of Mariupol, who have managed to get out of that hell. You may have some information for them. Where should they get assistance? What they should do? Well, first of all, there is our city council's information channel and Telegraph, and there is official information. There are all contacts on contact details. We have already restored the operation of our city council and municipality. So there is a call center, our call center working. You can call and ask some questions for the local authorities of the city of Mariupol. Their phone numbers, I want everybody to hear it, 0503451555, 0673451555. These phone numbers of our call center. We are near you. We are working, and we will be making every effort, whatever we can. Thank you very much, Vadym, for joining us. Thank you for this important information, for finding time to join us. We had Vadym Boichenko, City Mayor of City of Mariupol. Thank you for joining us. And 3:40 p.m. we'll have spokesperson of the